or first-time members of parliament. So this is the process where the entire assembly uh, go into committee to consider the estimates of expenditure for financial year 2026, uh, line by line. What I will do is to allow people to move laterally. So if, for example, the Honorable Member David Hines need to get some guidance from the Honorable Mahipal, he can step to the chair closer to Mahipal, the Honorable Member. So the rule is you have to speak from your seat. So just move your name tag over to the seat and I will allow that. But you won't be able to move behind or in front, but you could move to your left or right. I'll allow that. Good. Okay, so the House will resolve itself into the committee so we can start the consideration of the estimates. Please bear with me for 1 minute. Somehow my computer is giving me some amount of worries, and the 2024 schedule appears instead of 26. So let me reload this. In the meanwhile, we ask you to turn to pages 36 and 37 of the estimates, this book, volume 1. And what we will do, we will consider all of the estimates on the current for a particular head, and then we will do the capital. And once we dispose of that agency, we move to the next one. So the first agency is Office of the President. And if anyone requires, your fingers will get a bit smooth. Sponges, let us know so we can provide you with those. And what we do here, honorable members, is first we propose the expenditure. And when I propose, persons with questions can stand, press your microphone. I will recognize the lights and call you as I recognize them. And you can ask your question of the minister. And when we dispose of the questions, then I will put the question that the amount stated stands part of the estimates, and then we vote. But we don't have unlimited time. The time for every agency is detailed in the schedule before you. And once that time is exhausted, I put all the remaining heads. So
Mr. Chairman,
yes, Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
thank you, sir. Sir, would you be kind enough to consider us remain seating whilst asking the questions as opposed to getting up and down continuously?
Yes, we have allowed that in the past
Thank you.
because when you stand, you are a little bit higher than the microphone and we don't always hear you. So you can ask your questions seated. Similarly, the ministers can remain seated and answer the question. I need to get a copy of the estimates digitally. They sent it, but when I loaded it, I would say it was 24 came up, right? Come, 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 come. It was actually here. Okay. I'll do this again when we are back in the full assembly, but we have The bill for the celebrations this evening uh, are going to be borne by the Honorable Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, the Honorable Ashni Singh, and our Honorable Member, Ms. Sheila Veerasamy, both of whom are celebrating their birthdays today. Happy birthday, Honorable Members. So, Honorable Members, it's now 2:20. And I propose the question, we're on pages 36 and 37, that the sum stated for Agency 1, Office of the President, 011, Administration, Current Expenditure, stands part.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question comes from line items, well, the whole 6111 to 6117. Mr. Speaker, permit me to state that Appendix Q, where it's on page 597 and 598, tells us that 57 positions were approved by the Ministry of the Public Service for this program. But when you look at the number of staff, we're at 98. So our first question is whether the Honorable Minister can please state whether any of the administrative, senior technical, and other technical and craft skill persons are now employed on contract.
No, Mike?
No, that's not the question she's asking. Honorable Member, the 6116, under this item, Program 011 Administration, is strictly contracted employees that are 82, and that they are not persons who have changed from fixed establishment to contract. All are contract people originally and still are.
Thank you, Mrs. Chair. Thank you. Can the Honorable Member, Minister, please state whether the contracted employees that are filling those positions are positions that are approved by the public service? And are they being paid above the scale approved by the public service?
These are approved positions under the Public Service Ministry, and they're being paid at the GS scales that are approved by the Public Service Ministry.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, under 6111, last year we paid 2 staff members a yearly sum of $14,876,000. And this year we are looking to pay 1 staff member $13,626,000. May I ask what is the designation of this 1 staff that will be receiving a monthly salary of $1,135,500?
Honorable Minister.
The 1 staff you're referring to, Honorable Member, is the Permanent Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, 6284 with your permission. Other? May I ask the honorable member if under this sum there is an amount that will be going towards the administrative aspect of the Men on Mission program? And what is that sum?
Honorable Minister.
Under this heading 6284, it includes the consultancy fees as well as Men on Men, which is 2.5, you said? 2.5 million.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, may I ask the Honorable Minister follow-up? This program, Men on Mission, do we still have 3 staff members that are looking at the administrative aspect that is covered by 2 clerks and the 1 coordinator?
Honorable Minister.
The 3 you refer to plus 1, they have a new additional staff.
And the additional is coming
It's
from
an admin assistant.
coming from Office of the President or from the Guyana Defense Force?
No, from Office of the President.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, we were promised the report for the Men on Mission program. Last year, we were told we would have gotten the 2024 report, and in 2024, we were told we were going to get the 2023 report. Would the Honorable Minister be kind enough to, at least I'm refreshing our memory here, for the 2023, 2024, and 2025 report for the Men on Mission program?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, unfortunately, it was an error on my part. But I did read out, when we met the last time under estimates, I did read out what they had done and what they were going to do in the relevant years.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, may I ask the Honorable Minister, thank you very much for the submission of the report in the future, Honorable Minister. May I ask the Honorable Minister, the work that Men on Mission was to do or began, the whole concept of the idea of Men on Mission was really to improve society, especially men in society, and all the other issues that were faced in society by men, like being more responsible fathers, reduction in gender-based violence, and mentorship of young men and inmates. May I ask the Honorable Minister, what is the progress in terms of the hard data to show that the 2023 status versus the 2026 now, what improvement, what measurable data is available to show that they are achieving their objectives?
Honorable Minister.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, and Honorable Member, it takes a long time to change people's culture and habits. It doesn't happen overnight. The culture of abuse and the acceptance and tolerance of our society for abuse and domestic violence, it takes a long time to change. This is focused on changing men's attitudes towards women, towards children, and playing a role as change agents, particularly in their communities. And so a lot of the focus, they've had workshops, they've had community meetings, but they've also focused on dealing with the very poor in terms of their housing, providing better houses for them. But they have had those, but it takes time, and I believe right now, generally with what the government is doing, both through the Ministry of Human Services and Education and Office of the President with Men on Men, that there is a slow turn in the society to do with not tolerating the level of violence that we used to have before. So although domestic violence continues, there's less tolerance as expressed in the media and expressed in the judiciary in terms of dealing with cases and the protection of the victims.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Halley.
Thank you. Just to go back quickly to the contracted employee, 6116. What I would like the Honorable Minister to please indicate to this House is whether or not any of the contracted staff currently employed have job descriptions that would align with senior technical or other technical and craft staff at the ministry.
These are basically
Minister.
sorry, Honorable Member, these are mainly persons involved in administration. The clerks, the social monitoring unit, senior special project officer, cooks, gardeners, handymen, household service workers, drivers, systems analysts, and so on. So these are more persons involved in the administrative areas, not necessarily in the technical areas. Right? So these like chief accountants, clerks, those kind of persons are under this heading. And they
Honorable-
do receive the salaries that are required by the Public Service Ministry.
Honorable Member, Ms. Ali.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'd like to turn to 6281. Just can the Honorable Ministers indicate whether there's a security firm contracted under this particular line item?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, there are 3 security firms who are contracted under this head. And these are security coverage to be provided for staff, both at the office locations and the official residences. There will be a new security service required for the Gaming Authority, which accounts for the variation in the allocation.
Can the Honorable Minister, thank you, Minister, can the Honorable Minister state the names of those security firms that will be contracted under this line item, or are contracted?
Minister.
Yeah, I've got them here. There are 3 of them: Queensway Security, Caliber Security, and Elite Security.
Thank
They're all
you.
contracted by the Office of the President.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker and Honorable Minister, returning to line item 6284, I agree with you that culture changes slowly, but I heard nothing to the effect that we're doing anything to measure it. I come from a philosophical background and a worldview that says what you measure, you improve. And I've heard nothing that there is any actual measurement. I heard you say that there's a slow turn and so on. Can you confirm that there are no actual measurements taking place in relation to the objectives of the men on the MOM mission?
I would not be able to say that, but there are measurements to do with domestic violence and sexual violence under the Ministry of Human Services. There are indicators there that it could provide data. But this is, as I said, I continue to say, whilst you may have an indicator, what kind of indicators do you mean? Is there a reduction in domestic violence among the members of the men on mission, or is it, how are you going to measure it? We have not determined what measurements, because you can't measure it against the whole society. You're going to measure it amongst the persons who are members of it or who are participating in the program, which is not everyone, all males in Guyana. So one would have to be very clear on your indicators you wish to develop. And so that has not been developed thus far.
Thank you.
Honorable Member, Mr. Duncan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The question on the same line, item 62804. Minister, is there a particular allocation here, same men on mission? I know you did mention that housing is provided on the men on mission for people who are less fortunate. Is there a specific projection in 2026 for that, for that aspect?
Yes, Mr. Duncan, under capital. When we get to capital, we'll give the breakdown. There are projections for the entire year of 2026 to continue that program as well as other activities.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Minister. The other question I have, if I have a quick follow-up, is there a connection to the housing program that is done by, on this line item here, for men on mission? Is there a connection to this housing program to the formal Ministry of Housing?
No, there isn't, as far as I know. These are persons who are really in dire straits and who can't afford to build a house, in most cases, elderly, single parents. And so the men who are part of MOM identify some of these cases, and then those are responded to by the organization. They've inspected, check it, do the assessment, etc. So these are not persons that are captured in the applications to CHMP.
Thank you, Minister.
How,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Speaker, if I can, a quick follow-up. How are you certain of that? That's the very thing I'm asking there. Whether there is a, how are we rationalizing that they might not have received the house on the CHMP or perhaps through the First Lady's office? How are you?
There is that the CHMPA have records, and so they can, and I believe they do if there are any doubts, or if someone says to them that, look, this person, has a house lot already, that they would then check with CHMPA records to make sure there's no duplication, that a person is benefiting twice under the system, under the two systems.
But it's not an automatic system where you check.
Yeah. There would be normal checks. Is the property they're on, is it theirs, the land is theirs? They have to own the land they're on, or we can't build houses on land that's squatted on. So there has to be checks, and that they would be checking then with different records that the government has, including CHMPA.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 011, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated will now stand part of the estimates. Please turn to pages 38 and 39. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 012, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sir, 6321, the Guyana Technical Training College. There's a budgeted sum here of $78 million. I did read in the press that the college is expected to be fully functioning from January. May I ask the Honorable Minister if they were successful in terms of the 8 instructors that they were seeking to have to train the students there from this allocated sum?
Line
6321.
6321.
The 78 million that is in this head, included in this head, that is, because the head also, Honorable Member, includes Youth Council, the Presidential Youth Council, Advisory Youth Council, the Gaming Authority, Lands and Surveys, Commissioner of Information, and First Lady, as well as GTTC.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So
but-
78 million is for the college. And to answer your question, 70 million of this will be for consultancies aimed to develop and deliver an advanced diploma in building and construction at the institute, 5.5 million for the general operation expenses of the secretariat, and 2.5 million for the rental of the professor's residence. So these are more in terms of development of the diploma program and with the institute itself.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, so the a follow-up. So the 8 instructors that were supposed to be hired under this program, the Guyana Technical and Training College, they will not be receiving their salaries from this sum.
No, they're not at this moment, no. The 8 consultants have not been awarded as yet. They're in the interview process.
Okay.
But they
Chairman,
have to make allowances for their salaries, assuming that they're hired.
and that's coming from this sum or from another sum?
Ministry of Finance will provide the funds for that.
Okay. Sir, may I turn to the Guyana Lands and Survey Commission?
Go ahead.
Sir, may I ask from this 400 million, which is the subsidy and contribution to the Guyana Lands and Survey Commission, and when I also look at page 683 that gives the breakdown on the Appendix T, I see that the wages and salary, the emolument cost or the employment cost is $1,036,242,000. And the income or the revenue that the operations of Guyana Lands and Survey Commission have is 956,168,000, as in the expenditure for employment costs. Honorable Minister, what is the salary of the highest paid staff at the Guyana Lands and Survey? If I'm correct to say that that is the Commissioner of Lands and Survey.
Well, can I answer you first? And you're talking about on the T appendix T, you have the total budget for 2026 at 1.4 billion. And you also have the cost of expenditure, recurrent expenditure of 1.3 billion. Please note that the subsidy from the government, central government, is 400 million and 100 million for subsidy or grant from the government. Therefore, they get an additional 500 million in addition to the revenue they make. So what I interpreted as your question was there would seem to be a shortfall between what they earn and what they're spending. In relation to the staffing, what you asked about, you only, the highest paid, just give me a second, please. Out of the 400? Yeah. The commissioner and the deputy commissioner are paid from Office of the President directly and not from the subsidy. It's not from the subvention that is here.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman,
Just to answer your question, I'm just getting a lot of papers. The highest paid person is not the commissioner under this heading. So the commissioner is not under here, but the highest person is the head of the legal division, which gets 1,114,537 plus benefits.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. In light of the answer, may I have a follow-up? May I ask what is the salary and other benefits of the commissioner that is paid under Office of the President? And I'm guessing it's under the same program, 012, where Lands and Survey falls.
Minister?
Yeah, the commissioner is under 6116. The director, Commissioner of GLSC, 1,462,088, and the Deputy Commissioner of Lands and Surveys is 1,023,462.
Is that their salary alone, Mr. Chairman, or they have other benefits that come with
That's
that
their basic salary.
And what are the other benefits that come with the salary?
It would be normally in these cases, duty allowance, electricity, telephone, not electricity. Duty and telephone. You give me the thing quick, how much it is? What is the duty?
Sir, may I ask a follow-up? In terms of Guyana Lands and Survey Commission and these various surveys that have to be done when allocating state lands,
Yes.
may I ask what is the sum of money that is budgeted specifically for that, and what is the cost per survey based on the land that is allocated? Is there a sum per acre, and that's how Lands and Survey come up with the total that is going for each individual that is allocated land?
Minister?
What line are you referring to?
The very line 6321 that has Guyana Lands and Survey Commission.
Yeah, but we're going by 63, yeah, okay. They don't give a cost per acre. What is it?
Mr. Chairman,
No,
with-
but I just want to have clear from you, honorable member. You're asking about what is this, if there's a standard fee asked for different surveys and so on?
when, if I may be clearer, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair,
could
with
you be
your
clearer?
permission,
Go ahead, Honorable.
when an individual applies to Guyana Lands and Survey Commission for state land for whatever purpose and they're approved, the individual has to pay Guyana Lands and Survey to conduct the survey. Whether it's whatever kind of survey you call it, cadastral or whatever. And they're given a sum, 78,000, 200,000, I don't know what's the amount, for whatever amount of acreage they were allocated. I'm asking if that cost, if it's calculated per acre, so if somebody gets 10 acre and it's $10,000 per acre, it will be 100,000. Or if somebody gets 20 acre, if it's still calculated on the 10,000 per acre, and how is that sum arrived at? What I'm trying to establish, Mr. Speaker, or trying to ascertain, is that I'm noticing that the operation revenue of Guyana Lands and Survey is lower than the operation expense. The expense to administer Guyana Lands and Survey is more costly than what they're actually bringing in as revenue. So I want to know if it's a subsidized cost or is it an actual cost that was arrived at?
Honorable Minister.
Private surveyor. So we don't charge them. They have an option to hire private surveyor, so we don't charge them. So we have a schedule of rates for each.
Those are
various
publicized?
sizes. Yeah, different size, like
That's
residential, private.
And that's publicized?
It's in our.
No, I'm talking about publicized. Is it on your website? Is it how do people know?
When they come in, we give them.
Yeah, that's not good enough. The people, I'm advised, honorable member, that people can choose to go to a private surveyor and pay for those fees privately. They can also come to the lands and surveys and pay them. They have standard fees that they have at their commission for different services that are offered. And I asked if that was put on their website. I don't think so. My own view, it should be publicized on their website, and I would recommend that to lands and surveys. The issue too is that, as I understand it, that from year to year, sometimes the revenue changes based on activities that are going on, economic activity. So it is seen in, in 2024, it was 752 million, and that it has gone up to 920 for 2025, and it's holding the recommendation for 2026. In projection of the fees that would be received would be 956. So that they also receive rents and royalties, is that right? Yeah? Yeah. So they just have to manage their money.
Thank you.
But
thank you.
I would suggest that if you take into consideration the 500 million that government gives as a subvention and the labor costs, which include, which do not include the commissioner and the deputy commissioner. Therefore, that's covered by OP.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in terms of its staff complement at the Guyana Lands and Survey Commission, may I ask how many surveyors are in the employ of the Guyana Lands and Survey Commission that actually do the surveying work?
Honorable Minister.
In terms of the surveyors, I have 20 surveyors. Yeah, they also, as I said, that according to the Lands and Surveys Commission, that a number of scholarships have been given for training more members of staff in the diploma in land servicing to beef that up, as well as there are staff that are hired that also do additionally surveying to boost that 20 dedicated surveyors.
So when we, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, so when we do additional survey work that the 20 may not be able to handle because of they're occupied, we normally will outsource for the other surveyors, or they just do it?
No, the lands and surveys does not outsource,
Okay.
does not outsource to anybody else to do the surveying.
Oh, the
But
private person will have
private
to
can go
pay for
to,
that.
and go to a private surveyor
I understand.
and pay those fees.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, the 20 surveyors that we have at Guyana Lands and Survey Commission, can the Honorable Minister disaggregate in terms of which region they are located? Because I think Lands and Survey has branches across the country. Region 3, I know, has an office.
Honorable Minister.
Yeah, just give me a minute, please.
Unqualified surveyor in every region, except 5 and 8.
There. Fine. So of the 253 staff that they have here, they have a senior officer in all the regions, one in each region as a surveyor, except Region 5 and Region 8.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, may I go to the Youth Advisory Council?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Sir, the Youth Advisory Council has a budgeted sum here of $75 million. Last year, they spent $20 million from their budgeted sum of $75 million. May I ask the Honorable Minister to indicate, with the several initiatives that were highlighted last year while we were examining these estimates, what measurable indicators or baseline data is available for us to know that they're achieving the positive results expected? And would the minister be kind enough to lay those reports over to this National Assembly for perusal?
Honorable Minister.
For the President's Youth Advisory Council, as you can see, they have 75 million, which is what they got in 2025. So do you want the activity, what they did or what they're going to do?
No, I was asking if there's a report on the progressive work they would have done, given that they have expended 20 million from the 75 last year, and with this 75 this year, if there is a sum there to print the report, circulate it, and make it public for us to know what is it that the Youth Advisory Council is engaged in, and if it's bearing results as expected.
Honorable Minister.
Nobody's asking if there's a report. Yeah. Hmm? No, I know. As far as I'm aware, if I understand you by saying one report, there's no report, a formal annual report of the council. There is a document we have in terms of how they use the money in 2025 with stipends, grants to schools for boosting agriculture, operational expenses of 700,000. The grants to schools for boosting agriculture was 2.5 million. Money is allocated to stipends, 13.9. They also have, this is last year I'm dealing with, 2025. Their focus has been on institutional building of the council, policy engagement, and national consultations. So they plan in this year to have a number of youth consultations and also develop a youth cloud database that's established or will be established.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Chairman, we do have a follow-up, please. We do
Go
have
ahead.
a good way of managing the financial aspect of the allocation. But how do we manage the performance aspect of the Youth Advisory Council so as to know if they're meeting their objective? Yes, they're going into school and do what they have to do and all the other things. How do you measure that they're actually making an impact with the duties they're performing?
Honorable Minister.
I mean, the focus is on partnerships and volunteerism. They have I believe that they've held their youth consultations with various organizations across multiple regions. They've engaged with students, youth groups, and community leaders, and issues gathered on education, employment, mental health, and civic participation in 2025. Because there was low expenditure in terms of The venues were provided by schools, community centers, and partner ministries so that they didn't have to spend that quantity of money. Council members themselves were participating in the consultations with young people and schools. They also, I think we need a bigger table. I need a bigger table for this. They also conducted youth consultations using, as I said, existing public facilities, and they have looked at policy advice briefings submitted to the president on a number of issues that concern them or what they've come across in their community and outreach programs, including they have fulfilled their core advisory function, because remember, it's an advisory function, through policy briefs and consultations. The third area of accomplishment is regular engagement with ministries responsible for education, health, culture, youth and sport, human services, to try to ensure that youth priorities are mainstreamed into existing programs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I haven't finished. You wanted to know what they're doing.
I want to know how we're measuring what they're doing, if it has an impact.
Well, again, this is an organization that's relatively new. So I don't know if they've set baselines of what they're going to achieve by 5 years' time or not, but they have been active in having activities, national forums, launches, and consultations. They've also had a focus on representation and input, stakeholder mapping and youth network building, in the identification of youth organizations, schools, and community groups, and in creating an informal national youth network, improved ability to mobilize youth quickly. And so they have been rather frugal with the use of their funds and been able to rely on government agencies or, as I said, NGO, community centers, schools to hold their activities. They had a small-scale pilot initiative on test engagements on healthy eating, lifestyle choices campaign in schools, healthy recipe book competition, agriculture hinterland project, constitutional reform, public relations, reading and math program. And this is done, as you may or may not know, honorable member, at the One Guyana Kitchen, where the children there come after school and are given training while they also get help with their schoolwork, particularly math, and also get a meal. The mental health media publications, and so these were things that they were doing as a group. There are programs for 2026, which includes the moving forward on these issues that I just mentioned, the virtual academic lessons, healthy eating and lifestyle campaign, health tips, healthy living application for students, digital youth engagement platform, and youth policy workshop and policy discussions, the Youth Cloud database, the National Youth Consultations, training workshops for youths, national healthy eating, etc. And as they referred to the recipe. There is a National Youth Consultation, $3 million for regional engagements, and of course, as I pointed out, the competitions in agriculture. They also have media campaigns on anti-vaping, campaign family planning and parenthood, drug and substance abuse, domestic violence, mental health, health vulnerabilities, and awareness. So that these are some of the things they're going to focus on in 2026. As I said, they have not developed the indicators. It's a small unit that is more focused on trying to reach as many youth across the country. And so they have not developed a measure, measures or indicators.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for all those measures, Minister. Mr. Chairman, may I ask the Honorable Minister if the council members are in receipt of a salary or a stipend, and if so, what is the amount?
Honorable Minister.
They receive a stipend of $20,000 per month, and then the 3 persons are how many people are staff? Yeah, how much staff you have? Yeah, so they have 2 staff and the council members themselves. They each receive a whopping 20,000 US,
The
20,000
staff too?
Guyana per month.
Mr. Chairman,
20,000 Guyana per month.
the staff also gets 20,000 or they get
No,
more?
they get a public service salary.
Thank
But,
you.
But this is part of being on the council. If they do travel to different regions, then those areas of accommodation or travel, aircraft or boat, etc., would be covered by the program itself.
Thank
But
you,
the
Mr.
actual
Chairman.
stipend is 20,000 G.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, could I get two follow-up questions?
I can't.
The honourable
put it
member?
on permanently.
On the same line item, same subject matter, the Youth Advisory Council.
Honorable Member, Mr. Duncan.
I want to ask perhaps the inverse of that question. As against 60% of this budget not having been spent, what didn't get done over the last year? I think I barely heard
I'm
you
sorry,
mention-
Mr. Duncan, I got distracted. Could you repeat, please?
No, I wanted to ask, with 60% of this budget not spent, what did not get done from the program?
Which, you mean
The Youth Advisory Council,
Advisory
yeah.
Council? Based on their report, they saved a lot of money. I just had it, oh yeah. They saved quite a lot of money based on, as I said, using the government agencies, community places, and schools for their meetings. So in terms of rental, for those purposes, as well as their travel costs were reduced as well.
Thank you very much,
And what?
Madam Minister. The other question I wanted to ask, so the average young person might be listening in today and they wanted to be part of this organization, this advisory council. Where might they find the office? Is there a website? Is there a Facebook page that tracks these activities?
Yeah, if you go to the President's webpage, you'll find the information on the council. It's an advisory body to the President. And that also, if a young person is interested, they can call the Secretariat office at the Office of the President. No, I'm not talking about that. Talking about location. So that if any young person is interested in what it does, would like to participate, it goes to, for the men who would like to join MOM, that they can call the Office of the President, make contact with the Secretariat staff, and find out more about what they do and what areas they'd like to be involved in. We want to include more and more youth and more men in particular in those two programs.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair.
Honorable Member.
A quick follow-up. In whether they might have been an independent, I've been on the President's their website and so on, but it's not specific to PYRG in terms of the day-to-day or even month-to-month activities that they might be doing. I was just wondering if there might be an independent website or Facebook page concerning that. And then I want a quick follow-up on lands and surveys.
Minister?
Yeah, just give me a second. I'm trying to get
Sure.
the email address of the council and for Mr. Duncan. You can just give us a minute, please. Yeah, it's pyac.gy@gmail.com. So for those persons who are listening on the live stream, as well as you, Mr. Duncan, pyac.gy@gmail.com.
Mr. Chair, before you go to lands and surveys, just a follow-up on, can the Honourable Minister please confirm whether 13 million of the 20 million was spent in stipends? Did I get that accurately?
Honorable Minister?
Yeah, that's what you have. Yes, 29 members of the council. 29 times 20, times 12.
Okay. Would it be possible, I would like to ask you to lay over.
Lay over what?
I'm getting to
What would
it.
you like me to lay over? Everything I've said?
Whether or not you'd be willing to lay over the groups or schools that were engaged over the year, or they intend to engage this year as well, if they have that as well.
Yeah, that would have to be in their program for 2026, yes.
Yes, no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you. As we go back to lands and surveys.
Well,
Yeah, let me-
The Honorable Member, Mr. Duncan, was
I just have a
before
quick-
you on lands and
Sure.
I just have a quick follow-up to the Youth Advisory Council before we go to lands and surveys. Just wanted to know, I'm grateful for the savings to the people of this country based on this program, but I just was wondering, with all of that said, what do we envisage for this new year, this new fiscal year, that would um, attract this same 75? And I'm asking this $75 million. I'm asking that for the background, Mr. Chair. I remember, I think it was 2023, we were here with, I think, a $50 million allocation, and the honorable member did say that the council were now getting their feet wet and all of that. And again, the budget was not expended. And again, we are here now, and again, there's a small portion of the budget was actually expended outside of the stipends. What additional work that might attract this $75 million over the next year?
I had read, Mr. Duncan, what were some of the things you're going to plan. So the digital program that I talked about, the virtual academic lessons, healthy eating lifestyle, digital youth engagement platform is 4 million. Youth cloud database, 2 million. National youth consultations, 8 million. Training workshops for youth, 10 million. National healthy eating and lifestyle choices campaign, 14 million. Recipe book, focus on culturally and geographically suitable recipes, 7 million. Agriculture competition, sustainable agriculture practices in the hinterland, 12 million. National youth consultations, regional engagements, 3 million. Training workshops for youth, 7 million. Media campaigns, I read out what those were: anti-vaping, family planning, drug abuse, domestic violence, mental health, health vulnerabilities, HIV/AIDS, is 8 million. So that brings us to the 75 million.
Thank you,
very much, Mr.
Minister.
Chair.
Ms. Halley, honorable member.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're back to lands and surveys. For the 2026 work program, can the honorable minister state how many lands, if any, lands and surveys intends to, I don't know how you say it, if you hand it over, you sell it, what you do to CH&PA? I don't want to use the wrong term, but is it part of the work program for lands and surveys to give any lands over to CH&PA this year in their expanded work program?
Honorable Minister.
I can't say how much, but it will be, because we keep expanding agriculture and housing. But it would have to be dependent on how long it takes to do the surveys to be able to complete them. Just let me. Do you have that? Where's your thing for this year? What things did you plan to do this year? 2025. I have 20. No. Just give me. We're on the Capitol. Would be on the Capitol, would it? Huh? Yeah, but the number of surveys, etc., that you plan in your capital, I can't turn it off. Yeah, let's, for the honorable member who asked the question, no, don't take my things. Where are you taking my things to go? You're bringing another desk now? You can't take my files away. Get possessive, hold on to them. They have a number of cadastral surveys that they have been working on. But just to clarify for the honorable member that the CH&PA programs and what they're going to be doing is not planned by Lands and Surveys. When the request goes through Cabinet approves, then it would go to Lands and Surveys. So they can't predict that. But however, we would know from the presentation in the budget that there will be lands both for housing and agriculture that will be on the program for this year.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can the minister indicate where they're actually doing the current survey so we get a sense of exactly where the lands may open up once they receive the request from CH&PA?
Honorable Minister.
No, generally. What is 2025 comment? I don't want to- Just give us a minute, please. Could you give us a few minutes, please? I'm sorry. It's not in the file. Is it on the capital? You can always get back at time. Yeah, but it's a specific question. You have to be prepared when you come to these things. Twenty 25. Where's 2026? What I have in 2026 from the capital, not from current Miss Honorable Member Sarah Boyali, is that they have budgeted for cadastral and occupational surveys of 12 point, okay, here we are. This is not capital, right? So they have here cadastral and occupational surveys compiling to open up new to open up new lands for agricultural purposes, total 190,266,075. This includes precise leveling Supernam to Anna Regina to establish national vertical controls, precise leveling on Wakenan Island, precise leveling on Georgetown Network, precise leveling from Georgetown to Timeri. It also includes Wauna, Sugar Hill, approximately 200 acres, agri and residential, 40 lots at 5 acres each is a cadastral survey. Central Wauna, approximately 30 acres, resurvey of the area because the plots are not corresponding with what is on the ground. Cadastral survey based on plan number 14532. Regularization of Mabaruma settlement, Quarry Hill, 40 acres residential lots of 0.5 of an acre. These are occupation and cadastral surveys. There's another one listed for Golden Fleece to Underneming, approximately 100 acres to be subdivided into 5-acre plots. Cadastral survey for realization of Namrick of 1,075 acres to be subdivided into 70 12-acre plots and 94 2.5-acre plots. In the rear of Laluni Agriculture to open new lands in the first approximately 400 acres to be subdivided into 80 5-acre plots at 84,500 per plot. Then you go to Yarracabra to open up lands approximately 1,600 acres to be divided into 235-acre plots. Lou Creek, so a number of these are on the Sioux Dike corridor. Lou Creek to open the new lands approximately 900 acres to be subdivided into 90 10-acre plots. Maritrait and new Maritrait cadastral survey of 1,000 acres into 2.5 acres for agri purposes. Surveys in the rear, Bartica Road, Pataro. Cadastral survey approximately 1,300 acres into 10 acres at Manari, Iowa for small-scale agriculture. Cadastral survey for regularization of Prosville, Block 22, approximately 60 acres. Approval is granted for a number of applicants in the area. Resources required for Block and occupation survey at Plantation Friendship, East Bank, Demerara, Phase 1. Resources required for block and occupation survey at Calcutta. And it gives a plot number, Zora, East Coast, Demerara. So the total of the surveys is 190 million in the budget, and that's the breakdown of what they plan to work on in 2026. So you can see in here there's land that has been assigned for agriculture, land that's been assigned for some for house lots, etc., but for homesteads.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a follow-up on what you just said. Thank you for the information. Based on what you said, my understanding is these are new lands, they're now doing the surveys. Have any of those lands been given out to anyone as yet? Have anybody gotten any leases on any of those lands that you just mentioned?
Honorable Minister.
Yeah, all these are new lands except Prosville, which I mentioned, that is a regularization. But the others are all new lands being opened up and surveyed.
So nothing has been.
No.
Thank you.
And as I said, Prosville is where you have people living there, but you're regularizing the area.
Thank you. Honorable
Mr.
Member,
Chair.
Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Minister, I notice in one of the small budgeted amounts of 40 million for the Commissioner of Information's office. As far as I'm aware, that office is supposed to send an annual report to Parliament, and it's never been done. Could the Honorable Minister state what actions will be taken in relation to that office and its failure to operate in accordance with its mandate?
Honorable Minister.
What action are you thinking of, Mr. Clarence Campbell? The commissioner himself is a judge, a former judge. I'm sure he's aware of the act. I can't right now say exactly what the act says, but that I'm sure he's aware of it and he's expected to produce a report.
Just a follow-up, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Honorable Member.
Honorable Minister, I think it's over 10 years of reports that have not been presented to Parliament, and this is way beyond the pale. The government has the excellent advice of the Attorney General behind, who I'm sure could provide guidance as to how the situation can be addressed. But I think it's ridiculous for us to come year after year here to Parliament and budget $40 million for this office with no visible output.
Honorable Minister.
The point has been taken.
Thank you. Honorable Member, Ms. Walton Desir.
Mr. Chair, I had a follow-on to Mrs. Sarabuhali on the regularization, but you did not, you didn't see my mic.
You can still raise it. We're still on
Yes,
the...
thank you. Honorable Member, you spoke about the regularization of Prosville. I am curious as to when you anticipated that exercise will be commenced.
Honorable Minister.
Wait, when we switch sides, we have to switch back people, So I would like to ask Mrs. Speaker just to help me a bit, or help us a bit here, is that if we're dealing with lands and surveys, let's deal with that, then go to the next agency. Otherwise, we have to keep switching the representative of those agencies. So just now, it was one person.
Yeah, Honorable Minister.
Wherever possible, if that can be done.
I didn't notice her microphone on when we were on that particular agency.
Oh. Me?
No, you can answer.
I'm advised, Honorable Member, that the program that is designed for 2026, as with all years, go into action once the budget has been approved, in case their budget is cut or reduced or changed, so that all the agencies wait until basically their budgets are approved in this House, and then Ministry of Finance kicks in all the releases that are required for them to do their work. Is there anything else you want me to add? Mr. Maniz, do you have any idea where you're starting? To start what? Start these? And the Prosper one, when will you start that? I'm advised that they will start the Prosper one before June, and that a number of the other cadastral surveys will start before June.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Duncan, is it on lands and survey? Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The question is whether these programs you've outlined here and these surveys, whether they are emanating from perhaps requests from 2025, for instance, or maybe earlier. One, are there a backlog of such requests? And second question I want to ask is whether there is what is the backlog on applications for state lands?
Honorable Minister.
I can only say that in 2025, under the surveys that were listed to be done in regularization, that all were completed 100%. So that there are, in the 2025, there were 11 cadastral surveys, occupational and cadastral surveys, as well as leveling and others, one on block occupation and subdivision survey. These were all completed 100%. I'm not aware that there are any outstanding ones that are still from 2025, I'm to be advised. And so once these are what is coming up for the lands and surveys to look at based on the statements by the Cabinet and President of what lands we want to open up for agriculture, for example, the promise of 1,000 acres for agriculture and other areas.
And the question on the...
And there may be requests coming from different, like Ministry of Agriculture or another ministry that would go through Cabinet, and once Cabinet issues that approval, would then go to the Lands and Surveys Commission for the survey to be done.
And on the question of any backlog for general applications?
We don't keep backlog applications, so we let the interest. Because say we have over 30,000 letter interest.
This is housing or agriculture? Or both?
We have over 30,000 requests for that in Region 4. The others we are servicing. The other regions we are servicing.
Okay, well, I'm advised that the area where there's the largest letters of interest, not applications, but letters of interest, mainly are at Region 4, and there are 30,500 odd such requests. These are letters of interest, not applications. Letters of interest. They are working on the other regions, and therefore it doesn't appear to be a backlog in the other regions. But Region 4 is one of the larger regions with the largest population. One would expect to have quite a lot of demands on the lands and surveys.
Thank you, Minister.
A follow-up, Mr. Speaker.
Go ahead, Honorable Member, Mr. Duncan.
On the same subject matter, I noted in the recent past there was requests for some housing schemes and so on, and the sense was that they had to approach your entity, Lands and Surveys, for surveying of those areas. I was just wondering whether there is, from the Lands and Survey end, perhaps in the process, a national housing audit of lands that are available, or maybe in housing inventory might be the best way to put it. Since we seem to be going in this direction over the next few years, is it being done on a case by case basis? The Ministry of Housing wants to open a new housing scheme, and then they approach your entity, Lands and Surveyors, for surveying of this specific area here.
Honorable Minister.
Yeah. Agencies may request land, for example, agriculture or even education or health for schools and/or CHMPA. Once those are approved, the requests are there, and it's requested through cabinet, then it would go to the lands and surveys to look for land. Because some cases you have to look for land. You may not have land where you want it. For example, even an example of the hospitals that are being built, one has to look for, in some cases, new land and has to be assigned for that purpose. So the lands and surveys assist ministries in looking for available land for some of their projects. And I'm using the case of health and education.
Mr. Speaker? Sorry, Mr. Chair.
Before, I have the honorable member, Ms. Dawn Hastings-Williams,
Okay.
and I have the honorable member, Mr. Fernandez. If they are on lands and surveys, honorable MPs, yes. If not, we'll move on. Dawn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I heard earlier that the Guyana Lands and Surveys have plans to regularize some lands like in Mabruma. We have some persons living for many years on lands, either it's for residential or business in places like Camarang, Landing, Imbamadai. Do you have any plans, as to regularize these lands? The disadvantage comes when the persons want to use that land as collateral if they're going to take a loan, but it cannot be used because it's only a permit. So I would like the Honorable Minister to say if there is any intentions or any plans to regularize those lands. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Minister.
Yeah. The specific area of Camarang that you raise, the lands is under the mining district and under the GGMC, not under lands and surveys. So it is lands and surveys that gives permits to people to occupy and to live there. There's not been any, nothing I'm aware of right now of, one would have to change that designation of that mining district land, which is not just Cameron, but the surrounding areas, excluding the Amrinian Village Council and their title land. So one would have to examine that in terms of the designation as a mining district and also in terms of people living on what is mining area.
Thank you. So am I to understand that if the residents decide to request or to, is there a procedure that if the village council or the Upper Masonry District Council decide, to make a request to lands and surveys, if the permits can be regularized into either leases or titles, is it possible or not possible?
The Amrinian Village Council that exists at Warrawetta and Cameron King, they have their title land. If they want an extension of their land, they can request that. But the state land is at Cameron administration. And therefore that goes through a different procedure than under the Amrinian Act. And so the UDMC, as you know, is not legal. So they will, if they request, it would not be accepted because they're not a legal organization. They have not gone through the procedures as required by the Amrinian Act to be able to legitimately represent the villages of the Upper Mazaruni, so that the homesteads or houses or shops that are in Camarang that are coastlanders as well as indigenous people can look to a request for that, but it will be complicated because the GGMC, that's state land, designated for mining, and therefore it would not be seen as state land that could be just given out like that. It would lead to a whole change in the area, the designation of the area as a mining district. And that's not right now, as far as I know, on the books.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, sir, could the Honorable Minister say whether or not there was any exercise conducted by Lands and Survey to assess what lands can be repurposed from agricultural purpose to residential purpose?
Honorable Minister.
Yeah, you may or may not know that, Honorable Member, that the lands and surveys, they have the areas zoned. What is for agriculture, what is for residents, what's for mining, what's for whatever, and what is areas to be kept free, what are state lands to be kept free, etc. So it would have to fit into the zone, what that area is zoned for.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Follow up.
Go ahead.
Can the Honorable Ministers say whether or not a land was given permission for repurpose, say for example, on the Linden-Suislike Highway?
Minister.
Can you explain more on that? I didn't quite understand your question.
I did understand your response that says there are various zones.
Yeah.
However, I'm asking if any land was given documentations for repurposing on the Linden-Suislike Highway from agriculture to residential.
Okay.
Minister.
According to the Commissioner, he can't specify if there's any specific request for the Linden-Suislike Highway at this point. But as I said, there are areas in what I read out of areas that are going into agriculture. There also, they also have areas that have been used in residential areas that may be converted if nobody's there, or if they're squatting into another activity. But that depends if people have leases or not. People have leases, is a different arrangement. One can't just take it away and give it to something else.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to give a little bit more of clarity and context, previously at the level of the Economic Services Committee, when questioning the Minister of Housing, Colin Crowell, he did submit a document outlaying the process in which somebody can have their land repurposed from an agricultural land to that of a residential land. And it was noted that a land on the Linden-Suislike Highway, for example, the Splash Min, that bit of real estate there was one such that was given that reallocation, repurposing documentation. So my question is for other persons that would like to have their lands repurposed, any part of Guyana that was officially given by zoning for agricultural purposes, what is the process they have to undertake for it to be repurposed to residential purposes?
First of all, if there is such a request, it would go to Lands and Surveys and they would then ask CHMPA for their views and opinion on it. However, Splashman has existed for a long time. It has been an area for what you call swimming and recreation for a long, long time. And that was given out, I think, 20 years ago or more. So that it was not agriculture. There are several what were called tourist destinations or along this Linden-Suislike Highway that existed 10, 20, 25 years ago that were basically for people to go swim and have recreation and barbecue and stuff like that. And they advertised themselves as that. And so those weren't agricultural lands. So I'm not sure which land you're talking about. But Splashman, as far as I know, existed long ago, and it was specifically for the purposes of developing a recreational hotel, etc. from the very beginning. It just took a while to get to that point.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. And my final question on this matter is, based on the response given, I'm understanding that it is not, this zoning is not written in stone, and there can be consideration given from the level of lands and survey. And I would like the minister to just identify if any other person has been given leeway or given the go-ahead to have any repurposing done? And if so, what is the application process looking like for persons that do want to go in that direction? And I'm asking this question on the backdrop of we have housing developments like Silica City being advanced in the area. So definitely we are seeing government acting in a direction of repurposing. Well, we're looking at the various zoning as it would have been done previously. So what is the current posturing or the steps to be taken if somebody that has land any part of the Linden-Suicide Highway that wants to go in the direction of applying for repurposing of the use?
Honorable Minister.
I'm not aware of any new requests, but as far as I know, if you're referring to one of the areas, Splashman, that there were always what you call cabanas, if you call them cabanas, and even they'd set up rooms that people could overnight long ago. So that I don't know why you're cutting a lance over this. However, the Silica City is a state land that was designated for agriculture, and that cabinet has taken a position of creating a new modern city, and therefore the cabinet took that decision, and that decision is then being implemented by the lands and surveys in terms of the surveying and the layout of the land, so that the cabinet can make that change because these are all state lands, they're not private lands. Once they're state lands, the state can make a decision on its use and even make a change in its designation. In terms of a private person who may have a agricultural land and wants to change it to residential, they have to go through a process with the lands and surveys to get approval for that. So it's on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you, Minister.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Honorable
Not on
Member.
lands and surveys, we're moving on if possible.
You're moving on from lands and surveys?
From lands and surveys.
Okay, so we've exhausted lands and surveys, and we can move on to any line item on.
Yes, I'm going back to
39.
6116.
We're still on program 12, is that right?
Yes, we're still on program 12.
Right.
So how can the Honorable Minister state how many persons are currently engaged as presidential advisors or special advisors or similar designations within the Office of the President in this particular program?
Honorable Minister.
There are 3 presidential advisors and 1 national security advisor. 4.
4. Can the Honorable Minister state if any of these persons served as in the ministerial parliamentary capacity before?
I don't think so. No.
Thank you. Final on this particular question, can the Honorable Minister state what is the compensation or remuneration of these advisors?
Minister.
They're different range, they're different salaries. One receives 1,194,905 per month. Another receives 1,023,462. The third presidential advisor receives 600,000, and the national security advisor receives 1,023,462. So 2 receive the same salary, and the other 2 have different salaries.
Thank you. Can the minister please indicate the JDs of those advisors, like the presidential advisors, what exactly they're supposed to be advising him on?
There's no JD for an advisor. Presidential advisor is pointed at the pleasure of the president and what he needs. And that has been the practice in this government since independence, whenever they've had when we've had presidencies. The president says, I need an advisor to do with X. This is supposed to be an expert that brings a certain level of capacity that can advise him. And so it is his discretion. He decides, or he or she decides what would be their terms of reference, what would they be assigned to. So there's no JD, a standard JD for an advisor, a presidential advisor.
I understand that. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, can the Honourable Minister indicate the different advisors what exactly they're advising him on? So is there an advisor for a particular sector? What is that? What are those three advisors advising the president on?
And what's this? Empowerment, yeah. One advisor is on health.
Okay.
Specialist is a specialist in health. One is on youth empowerment and community empowerment. One is on education, and the national security advisor, as you know, is dealing with security.
Thank you, Mr.
Honourable
Chair.
Member, Ms. Halley.
6321, back to Office of the First Lady. Can the Honourable Minister state why there is a 62% increase in the allocation to the Office of the First Lady this year?
Honourable Minister.
What accounts for it? As the minister is speaking, I'll do the follow-up to the same thing at the same time. Can the Honourable Minister?
She would need time to listen to you.
Sure, no problem. It was just to help her out, but fine.
Yeah, thank you. The 2026 program, there is, comes up to 79,300,000. The question you're asking, that we expect to spend that in the fiscal year 2026. 50 million is allocated for projects, and of which 44 million is allocated for projects and programs, and that the shortfall of 34.3 million, which will be funded through fundraising events by the Office of the First Lady. To give you an idea of what are some of the things that are on the cards for 2026, one is adopt an orphanage, and this includes orphanage that benefit from this program are Rooney Girls Home, a Sanctuary Children's Home, Rheinfeldt Children's Home and Care Center, Bless the Children Home, Hope Children's Home, Joshua House Children's Home, Prabhu Sharan Orphanage, Red Cross Convalescent Home, Shahid's Girls Orphanage, Shahid Boys Orphanage, St. John's Bosco, and Bal Nivas. So the budget for that is 5.5 million. The Menstrual Hygiene Initiative, which you know was started over 2 years ago, distributing sanitary pads to girls in high schools in all 10 regions. The cost is assessed at 12 million, including 2 million for transportation. There are also workshops for sexual and reproductive health going on in various communities. That's 3 million, a total of 15.2 under that. Inclusability. 62. This is a project dealing with persons with disabilities, and they receive counseling services which will be administered through the Guyana Council of Organization for Persons with Disabilities. 100 persons with disabilities are expected to benefit from these services. This mainly guidance counseling. In addition, skills training for persons with disabilities. This is 5 million that has been earmarked for that at the Center for Equity, Opportunity and Innovation at the Empower Guyana building, Palmyra, Berbice. 120 persons with disabilities are targeted for training through this year, through this program for this year. And training will be provided by the Carnegie School of Home Economics, Board of Industrial Training, Small Business Bureau, and private instructors. There'll also be donations to persons with disabilities, such as assistive aids, devices, wheelchairs, hearing aids, canes, etc. You have the National Beautification Project, which has 35 million assigned to it, budgeted. These include parks under construction, play sets, bins, and you may have seen some of the children's parks that have been done. They're very lovely in many areas. You may have passed them and seen them. At Denhamstal, Oakham Beach, Leguan, Region 3, South Souci, Wakenham, Diamond Grove, East Bank, Bath Settlement, Region 5, Bushlot, Region 5, number 63, Beach, Region 6, Cato, Region 8, Wismar, Linden, Region 10, Spikeland, Linden also. General repairs and maintenance will also be done on all the existing public parks that have been set up, children's parks that have been Region 2, 3, 4, and 6. They will also be providing financial assistance to Guyanese in vulnerable situations, with assistance in terms of backpacks, supplies, children's toys, hampers, etc. So that the budget that they will be getting is 78 million, but the actual cost, and this is the projection for the cost under the budget, their budget, but this will probably cost much more than that, and therefore, that's why I said there will be a 34, is expected, there's a 35.3 million shortfall, which will be funded by the different fundraising activities hosted by the First Lady, these dinners and stuff like that she hosts, to supplement the subvention from the government.
Thank you, Minister. The Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, permit me to take you back to the Office of the Commissioner of Information. Sir, in 2021, a sum of $30 million was there for the Commission of Information. 2022, 40 million. 2023, 40 million. 2024, 40 million. 2025, 40 million. A sum total of $190 million. And here we are requesting an additional $40 million. Sir, in view of the answer provided earlier by the Honorable Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Gail Teixeira, and taking note of the Commission of Information not satisfying what is expected, that is no report for over 10 years, nothing to Parliament for scrutiny, no proof of any work being done, would the Honorable Minister and her side support a reduction in the allocation of the sum to the Office of the Commissioner of Information to $1?
Well, I'm trying to be good today, but
Me too.
sometimes Mr. Maypol tempts me badly, and Mr. Duncan, but Mr. Duncan's behaving very good today, so far. So that the issue is that having experienced when the budget was cut by 90 billion in 2012 by our colleagues who were in opposition, and we were minority government, I would hate to cut anybody's budget, and therefore I would not support you in any way of cutting the Commission of Information's budget to $1. However, I do think you need to know that the Commission works under the Freedom of Information Act, the Access to Information Act, and it clearly states what his role is and what people can do and what they can't ask and what they can. And so I've seen a lot in the media, a lot of issues being raised which are publicly available. So the number one rule is that once information is publicly available on any site, the Commission of Information doesn't have to do anything about it. It's available. In fact, you're really not supposed to ask. On average, according to the Commission of Information, there are about six requests per month, and he says all have been addressed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you,
Mr.
Minister.
Chairman,
Go ahead.
may I ask the Honorable Minister, since she is not in support of a reduction of his budget, given that there's no report to Parliament, nothing for scrutiny, no proof, and so on, what measure will the minister who's answering for the expenditure requested, what measure will she take to ensure that the Parliament, the National Assembly, is afforded at least a report of the 2025, the most recent year, 2025 work of the Commission of Information.
I will do what I do.
Honorable Minister, just allow me to give a response. Just be careful how you're linking. Because remember, you said since there is no this, since there is no that, and the minister is not willing to reduce. Just be careful, right? Because once you start down that road, minister is free now to give a long essay in response, and your time will run. Honorable Minister, you have the floor.
I will do what I do all the time since the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance was set up, is I write all the constitutional bodies, all the statutory bodies, and ministries, reminding them of what they have to submit to Parliament. And you may have noticed in the indicators, which are in volume 2, that all the indicators, including for the constitutional bodies, have increased in the last year. We've actually surpassed our target of the number of agencies that we had targeted to submit annual reports and audited financial statements in this House. There are still agencies that have not completed. Their audit is going on in some cases, and so we're trying to bring all those up to date so that the Parliament will receive all the documents they should have. So we continue to write the agencies, and some are making great efforts to comply, as you've seen in the last year.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Campbell.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chairman, and staying on the subject of the Office of the Commission of Information, would the Honorable Minister be able to give us a breakdown of that 40 million? How much is salary, how much is rent, etc.? I'm specifically concerned about those two items, but you can give me additional details if possible.
Who's in the secretary?
Honorable Minister.
Okay. Yeah, this 40 million includes the Commissioner of Information salary, as well as his vacation allowance, gratuity, chauffeur allowance, and NIS. And the total of that comes to 33,561,430. There is 6,438,570 to bring it up to 40 million, which relates to the Secretariat. He has one staff and the Secretariat costs, administrative costs for the Secretariat.
Mr. Chairman, would you permit me a
Go ahead.
follow-up, sir?
Follow-up.
Honorable Minister, is there a rent being paid for the Office of the Commission of Information, maybe outside of this budget?
No, no.
Thank you.
There's no rent being paid.
Thank you.
Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 012, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated herein now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, let us turn to pages 40 and 41. And I propose the question that the sum stated for program 013 on the Agency 1 stands part of the estimates.
Please put this one, sir. Sir, I don't think any of us have questions on this program.
Honorable members, I now put a question for Agency 1, Program 013, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Let's turn to the next two pages, pages 42 and 43. And I propose a question that the sum stated herein on the current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Maipol.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, 6321, Guyana Office for Investment, Go Invest, a sum of $453,639,000. May I ask the Honorable Minister, what is the salary and benefits of the CEO of Go Invest? That is decked out in a lovely green there.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, hasn't our time run out?
Honorable Minister,
I'm not the timekeeper, but I've just been advised that the time has run out. We
yes, the
started at
time for this
2:20.
head,
We
but
started- we started
there will
at
be no
2:20.
questions under the Ghana Defense Force. So I'm
I'm
just
not aware
giving
of
some
that.
flexibility. I am.
You are? You're
Yes.
privy to such information?
Okay.
Cooperation and collaboration.
Not with me.
No surprise.
But is that, therefore, you're saying that arbitrarily you've decided that we keep going and use up the 30 minutes of the GDF?
Not arbitrarily. We're offering some flexibility.
So what time are we to go to on this one? Please give me the revised time.
We will finish this at about in the next 10 minutes.
So this is, okay, so where are we now? Okay,
356.
program 4, right?
Yes.
Program 4. Yeah, I'd like to hear the question again. It's 6241, is that?
6321, the salaries and benefits
6321.
of the CEO of Go Invest, who's decked out in that lovely green and is serving in our National Assembly.
What you want to know about him? You know him.
His salaries and benefits. The country needs to know.
Ah, Lord, y'all going to make me go blind with this font. Mr. Speaker, you don't know what it's like to be here. My lovely support staff from all these wonderful agencies believe that I have telescopic eyes. I cannot see a font 8 and a font 7, really. But anyway, I will try. I will plod on. Yeah, the Chief Executive Officer, his basic salary is 1,901,000. Next time I'm going to walk with my magnifying glass.
Doing well, ma'am.
1,901,000. Then gratuity, you know, for the year is 2 times, 5,323,000. Vacation is 1,901,000, and traveling and other allowances is 117,000. And so that's it.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr.
Sir,
Malcolm.
are there allowances attached to that? I didn't hear the Honorable Minister speak
Yeah,
to the allowances.
117,000 total for the year.
Total, okay.
Yeah.
Sir, a second question, in terms of like when Go Invest grants concession to companies and individuals and agencies that may want to invest and so on, and they get special consideration and concession, should they fail at their investment, how does that relate in terms of, are they asked to leave their whatever concession they may have been given, whether it's vehicles, duty-free, whatever concession, are they asked to at least give back to the state, or is that left as it is and they can dispose at their own maritime?
Honorable Minister.
And this is should they fail in their investment, sir.
But on other aspects of that they complied with the agreement. Oh, okay. I'm advised that where such situations occur, and because many of the concessions are taxation, that there would be GRA that would be called in to take a position on that and to address that issue of the company who's been given concessions not complying.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So, but I would assume that would Go Invest would alert them that there are inconsistencies or in the performance and so on.
So GRA, Go Investor would officially write to GRA to notify that XYZ are not compliant, and then it's left into GRA's hand to take the necessary
Yeah.
action, if I'm hearing the minister correctly.
As far as I understand, but GRA itself independently
Yeah.
could also do an investigation on their own and decide that the company is not complying with the concessions and the agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Member, Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could the Honorable Minister, well, let me preface this. The long-term stability and development of our country depends on our non-oil economy. It depends on us diversifying beyond oil. As I am not seeing reports coming out of Go Invest on regular reports on the level of foreign direct investment.
Could you say what line item you're on, sir?
6321.
6321?
Go Invest, yes. So I'm asking through you, Honorable Minister, through the Chairman to you, Honorable Minister, why aren't we getting reports on non-oil foreign direct investment into Guyana, disaggregated reports?
Honorable Minister.
It's in the annual report for the Go Invest 2025, for example. You have agriculture of over 1,881,211,945. Forestry, 376 million. ICT, 1.7 billion, for example. Light manufacturing, 6.9 billion. Mining, 52.8 billion. Tourism, 93.2 billion. Energy, 0. Services, 814,154,294. So this is you can find all the approved projects in the annual report of the Go Invest.
Mr. Chairman, may I proceed?
Broken down by each investment, is that so?
Mr. Chairman, may I proceed with a follow-up?
Go ahead, Honorable Member.
Those numbers, do they represent foreign direct investment or investment facilitated by Go Invest?
Honorable Minister.
157 billion. These are foreign, of which is the total amount of investment. I just read the projects to you. The foreign direct investment is $86 billion, of course, Canada dollars. Local is 64 billion, and joint ventures 5.9 billion.
A follow-up, Mr. Chairman.
These are, by the way, those that come to Go Invest. There may be others that do not come to Go Invest.
So let me put this question squarely. In 2025, can the Honorable Minister tell me what was the figure for foreign direct investment in Guyana and what was the figure for non-oil foreign investment, direct investment into Guyana?
I just gave that. You asked for foreign direct investment, I said 86 billion.
And the non-oil figure, disaggregated.
I gave the disaggregation here.
Yeah, so let me hear the figure.
Of agriculture, 1.08 billion. Forestry, 376 million. ICT, 1.7 billion. Light manufacturing, 6.9 billion. Mining, 52.8 billion. Tourism, 93.2 billion. And there's nothing here on this energy. So 0 for energy, which I assume would include non-oil, would it be gas and oil. Services, 814 million, coming to $157.0 billion. So this figure is the 157 billion is the non-oil investments, of which for foreign direct investment, 86 billion, local is 64 billion, and joint ventures, 5.9 billion. Is that correct?
Thank you.
Right? So this is only dealing with non-oil, right?
Honorable members, the Honorable Minister is right. I technically don't have any authority to move minutes from one head and bring it up. But what is saved from a previous head could apply to the following head. I'm now 15 minutes into or over the agency one. So I now have to put all of the other programs on the agency one. You got through halfway. And you know what happens to people who stand in the middle? They get run over or blows from both sides. So, honorable members, let me read out the agencies which I put. For agency one, I put the programs 015 current, 016 current, 011 capital, 012 capital, 013 capital, 014 capital, 015 capital, 016 capital. And I put the question that the sum stated for all of these programs on the agency one stand part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated herein on all of these programs, agency one, now stand part of the estimates. Thank you, Minister, and all of your staff for taking us through agency one. We will now take a break and come back and deal with the next head, which